Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Put Me Over Podcast, episode 68. Slowly marching our way to that magic number. Next week, can't come fast enough. I am your host, Andrew Gomez, a.k.a. The Mez, joined today by my lovely, wonderful, beautiful co-host. We're on a full ship today, guys. To my right, we got the 10th wonder of the world himself, Dickalicious himself.
What is going on, everyone?
Richard Garcia.
Oh.
That was my bad. I fucked that up too.
It's all right. It's all good.
Also joining us, returning from the sabbatical, we have the Pinoy Powerhouse, Byron Pagdalao.
Feels good to be back from paternity leave, so I'm just really happy that kid's okay.
How was your baby?
He's all right. He's in the toilet now, but it's okay.
Glad to be back. Glad to have you back, Byron. But before we get into the show, let's just give it out right to our sponsors right now. Give it up for lapeliad.com. If you're ever in the market for some wrestling merchandise, look no further. Make sure you go to lapeliad.com to check out all their stuff. A lot of cool stuff. I think they're sold out of all their Comic-Con stuff, which was pretty awesome. But make sure to go check them out and use our promo code PUTMEOVER. And in turn, that website will put you over, and you'll get 20% off your entire order. Act now because supplies are very limited. Also, speaking of places to go to get things for a discount, go to our website, putmeoverpodcast.com, for all of your Put Me Over Podcast merchandise, like this sweet, nifty water bottle I have. Water bottle not included, just threw a sticker on it, but it is available if you wanted to make some stuff yours and ours. Make sure to use our promo code FLACID for 15% off your entire order. And that's going to do it for our plugs. Hey guys, out there in YouTube land, we're back.
Sex Max.
Oh, man.
So, Byron, fill us in, man. Where have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been busy working on, I went to a convention in Ottawa, the lovely city of Ottawa. Played a couple shows in the time I was in my sabbatical. Raised my kid a little bit. An aunt died. That's cool. What else?
Can I get a little closer there?
Oh, sorry.
There it is.
My aunt died. That's cool.
Oh no.
I know.
That's not cool.
Okay.
That's
She's
not cool.
resting in peace. What else happened? It's been a long time, huh?
It's been like 2 months.
It has, yeah.
Well, what's good with you guys? I haven't seen you guys in a minute. What's been going on?
It's, just doing the podcast.
Keeping the podcast alive.
Yeah.
Alive and strong. Not
Keeping it
flaccid.
alive, brother.
What? Not a whole lot. Not like there's been a lot of stuff going on in wrestling.
I know. I mean, from the last time I was on the show till now, I think there's not that big of changes.
Have you been keeping up at all?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we're getting down to SummerSlam, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a luau here. You guys are invited. Not you guys. Some of you guys. I have a house big enough for a few people.
It's basically going to be a private party, and we're not talking about the tag team.
Ooh, I like that.
Good.
Although they can come. Can they come?
I mean, they can come. CUM.
Yeah. All the time.
But with that said, we got all the plugs out of the way. Thank you guys for listening, downloading, subscribing, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your friends' neighbors. We're available on all social medias at Put Me Over Podcast or PMOP, right? On PMOP.
Yeah.
PMO Podcast on Twitter. We're also available to download on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, wherever you can find your podcast, you can find us. And with that said, let's get into the news. Let's get into some Dick's Dirty News. Take it away, Dick.
All right, guys. So last week we mentioned about AEW on TNT premiering on October 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So now we find out what the first two matches are going to be. It was announced first on Monday that it's going to be Cody versus Sammy Guevara. That's going to be the first match announced.
That's going to be a barn burner.
I'm really intrigued by that match.
What is the date of the show?
October 2nd. It's going to be a Wednesday.
Ooh.
Have they announced what they're actually going to call the name, or are we still speculating?
I think we're
Dynamite?
still speculating we're still speculating at the moment. I mean, it's been rumored for a while that it's going to be Wednesday Night Dynamite. But,
shit, that's hilarious.
We'll know. I guess we'll know for sure down the road as AEW slowly begins to give out more details as far as their first show goes. Now, in addition to that, we now know what the second match is going to be: the Elite versus Chris Jericho and two mystery opponents.
Oh, that's exciting. That's intriguing. So Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Jericho and two mystery partners. Who can team with Jericho, you think?
That's a good question.
They probably don't even know, to be honest. Or maybe they probably think of far ahead. They don't have that many shows in between, so they probably have their.
Maybe the Lucha Bros?
That would be pretty awesome, actually.
I mean,
Oh yeah, that would be sick.
that would be so dope, dude.
Yeah. Rather than just some makeshift like 2 other singles wrestlers, it'd be cool if they had one wrestler.
And then-
and a tag team.
Like how they're doing on the other side with Jericho and with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Right. So it's
One
perfect.
single and a tag. Yeah, that'd be dope.
And then from there you can branch off to their own separate feuds right after. So it'd be cool.
That would be
Well,
the way to start.
I mean, to
a
be
good
fair, like the blow off match, they're gonna have a blow off match between the Bucks and the Lucha Bros. I'm assuming it's gonna be a blow off match at All Out.
So it's probably
But who knows? Maybe they might still continue the feud for all we know.
I mean, if just to serve this purpose of just
True.
getting a huge match on for their debut show, which is rapidly approaching. WWE is in full crisis. What else we got, Dick?
And since we're on the subject of the premiere show on TNT, tickets are going to go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. So that's going to be interesting as far as whether or not it's going to. Well, I have faith it's going to sell out completely. The question is whether or not it's going to sell out in minutes and see how much of a demand there really is for this show.
I think this show is going to sell out almost instantly. It's going to be all out levels of sellout.
I mean, I agree. It's going to be like it's a historical show. It's going to be the first show that they're going to be having on network TV.
Yeah.
So you obviously want to pack the house. You want it. Fans want to be there obviously because it's a historical moment.
Exactly. And it's not going to be held at the Mall of America. This is like a legit big arena that they normally hold Raws in and Smackdowns in. So I'm excited to see, how fast it sells out. I'm also excited to see what 2, 3, 4, and 5, going forward, if they're going to be able to sell out that fast.
That's true. That's going to be my next point is that it may sell out the first show, but what about down the road? And as far as like, because it seems like to me it's going to be on, it's going to be a traveling show like Raw and SmackDown. So can they sell out? And are they going to do big arenas? Are they going to do small arenas? Like we don't know as far as what the future holds.
Do you think they could sell out
Staples.
Ontario at least?
Yeah. What is Ontario?
they-
8,000 or something?
Yeah, it's like a mini Staples. So you figure like if Staples has about let's say 19, 20 for a wrestling show for those that don't know, Citizens Bank Arena is basically a miniature version of the Staples Center
in
Yeah.
City, Ontario.
in the city of Ontario, California. So you figure like that's about what, like 10, 11,000? It could do that easily.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Well, I mean,
I'm trying to just think of like other stadiums. Like, could they do T-Mobile Arena?
no.
Not yet, huh?
No, hell no.
because T-Mobile is what, about 20 plus?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
what the hockey team plays too. So
They have all the UFC fights there.
yeah, there's
True.
no way. Yeah, I think they're probably good at venues like StubHub Center or whatever it's called now. What's the
StubHub's in Carson. You're thinking of the stadium. Oh no, it's not. It's not StubHub anymore. It's
Dignity Health Sports Park.
Dignity.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that'd be a dope
Jesus
venue.
Christ, that name
That would
sucks.
be dope, dude. An outdoor venue like that?
Yeah, I think it'd be dope, and it's legit seating for it.
22. That's a 22,000 seater too.
No way, is it that much?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big
What?
stadium.
It is.
You got that, Dick?
Tinder.
I want to put that on silent. Maybe on silent. Your Tinder's blowing up, brother. I don't know.
You don't need to look at my phone and call me out like that.
Oh, is it really Tinder or Bumble?
Let me see.
It's a text.
Text from Bumble.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
There it
Sorry,
is.
technical difficulties.
So yeah,
it always happens when you're back, Byron.
where's that pay-per-view, Matt?
Pay per view.
I mean the AEW event.
Oh, it's in DC.
It's gonna be at the Capital One Arena
there it
in
is.
Washington D.C.
Oh shit. Well, who plays there?
The Wizards.
Oh fuck, they're not gonna sell that out.
Washington D.C. dude.
They're not gonna sell that.
I
out.
bet you. I bet you.
Dude, it's not gonna be instant. It's got to be gradual.
So
And
what do you think?
I think Tony Khan's gonna buy a lot of the tickets.
Dang. Why are you such a hater
No,
for,
no, that's
bro?
what they do even for like UFC, and they do that for UFC and
For
some boxing matches. Too.
for
I'm
that's
back to
true. You're not gonna have. I mean, they may not be a complete sellout. I mean, they're gonna have tickets they may raffle away or give away. Raw does that. SmackDown does it. WWE notoriously does that.
Yeah.
UFC does that.
Boxing.
They all do that. So that's true. You brought up a good point.
But for a debut show, I think it's going to sell out instantly.
I don't know. We'll see.
And keep in mind, they're all not going to be sellout tickets. But as far as what's available to purchase, it may sell out. I mean,
I'm just saying because watching the product on TV, the last couple of shows they had, the Bleacher Report one and all that, I mean, you can kind of see how there's a big deficiency between WWE production level.
Yeah,
and
production definitely needs to come up.
And they're so young, like you can't even, the stories aren't developed yet. As much as we give shit for WWE for not having stories every week, I think it's, at this point there's no real big narratives that are that present or like hooking new wrestling fans to watch AEW. So they still have time though, obviously.
Well, they're still doing a great job with their YouTube numbers, on being the elite and the road to All Out. They just recently released a new episode today, which is pretty awesome. And I think they're going about it the right way as far as like social media presence is being huge.
Right, and they're not on TV yet, so we don't know whether or not if their storytelling is going to be effective on a weekly basis. They're capitalizing on the social media platform to advance their storylines for what they can right now until October. Once October hits, then we'll see whether or not doing it on a weekly television network will work or not. We'll see.
Yeah. What else we got, Dick?
All right, so Jerry Lawler. This is about a year ago, so it seems like this week's been a memorable week, and not in a very good way, unfortunately. 1 year ago, around this time, Brian Christopher had passed away. And Jerry Lawler, he still believes to this day that his son's death was not a suicide, and that it was something that had happened. And he is filing charges against against Hardin County, Tennessee, the jurisdiction in which Brian Christopher was in, wrongful death lawsuit. And we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I don't know whether or not. Last year we reported it. We told everyone that Brian Christopher had committed suicide. He hung himself in a jail cell, and Jerry Lawler, he believes that it was not a suicide and that he may have been murdered.
Oh,
so we'll see how that goes. It's still pending at the moment, and Jerry Lawler had mentioned that if they'd win, if he won, that the winnings will go to his son, or to his grandson rather.
Well, yeah, who else is gonna go to? But yeah, that sucks.
I mean, it's I really don't know what to say. That it's a sad story. It's a bummer.
It really is. We don't know whether. Like I said, we don't know whether or not it was a suicide or not. Jerry Lawler believes that wasn't the case and that he may have been murdered. But we'll find out. We'll see where this court case goes, and as soon as we hear more about it, we'll keep you guys up to date.
Yeah, sorry, Jerry. That must be traumatic for you.
Yeah, and. Also, speaking of anniversaries, it's been 4 years this week. Actually, 4 years today since the passing of Roddy Piper. So
I actually noticed that in Facebook memories, it lets you, it tells you all the stuff. And I changed my profile picture to when I got to meet Roddy Piper, and I remembered why, and that sucks. Thanks a lot, Facebook memories, for ruining my day. Yeah, as per usual. Always reminds me of how much of a shithead I was in the early 2010s. So thank you, Facebook, for that. But no laughter. Okay.
There's some truth to jokes, though. Not just kidding.
No, I was a shithead. I was treating Facebook like MySpace. Remember?
It was basically the next level of MySpace. If you think about it, like the next level of progression.
MySpace was awful after a while, though.
Remember bulletins and you could be like, "Hey, what's going on tonight, guys?"
Oh yeah.
I was doing that on Facebook.
Oh shit.
Yeah, a lot of. I was like a grandmother using Facebook.
I still have friends who post you could tell they put stuff up to try to get females' attentions. I'm like, that's not gonna work.
I see it all over the place.
That's not gonna work.
It's still going on, dude.
You guys out here because we're friends, but
some of these guys are dehydrated.
Yes, they are.
It's a desert where they are.
It's a fucking Sahara desert, dude.
Oh, guys. Oh.
And I am the entire desert.
What else we got, Dickie?
All right. The podcast with Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin. Did you guys get to listen to it?
I'm about an hour and 10 minutes in. It's been pretty
entertaining. You're pretty much done with it. You got the gist of it.
2 hours?
It's about an hour 30. Hour 30 or so.
I'm about
you got most
three
of it
quarters.
Good.
What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I think Hulk Hogan is really good at what he does. And what I mean by that is I think, obviously, he's a great orator, or he's a great speaker. He can talk. and him and Stone Cold just have a natural chemistry.
Yeah.
I think, Dick, you were saying you thought a lot of it was BS and a lot of stories were BS.
Well,
I didn't get that vibe.
Before we do that, let's just get the gist of what the podcast was about. He mentioned that Hogan does have arthritis.
Oh, yeah, that shit was funny when he talked.
Yeah,
about it.
so I mean, I can't really say that he's full of shit on that one because I don't have arthritis.
He's 66.
He's
Does
66.
Does it really take him an hour and a half to get going for the day, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did mention that during the podcast.
Didn't he kind of call out Steve Austin for going slow? Remember? He's like, hey, are you okay? And Steve Austin was talking about how it takes him a while to get going, too.
Yeah, Austin said it takes him like 30 minutes to like get going. Because, dude,
Yeah.
I have arthritis in my knee, and like
shit.
if I sleep weird or something like that, or if I sleep like at an angle, my knee, like I need to like flex. It doesn't take me 30 minutes, but I definitely need to like
Give it a warm.
give it a little warm up because it hurts. It's stiff. It doesn't want to move. So I feel your arthritis, brother.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's for those that have had it, I'm sure like they've had similar experiences with Hogan, maybe not as exaggerated. The thing with Hogan though is that he's had a history of telling exaggerated stories. So it's like with this podcast, it's like you're playing a game of 9 truths or 9 lies and a truth, basically. Like which one is he telling the truth and which ones are lies? You know?
9 lies and an R truth.
And an R truth. Yeah, see what you did right there.
One thing I did notice, there was a lot of edits, and whoever works on that show as an editor, I mean, I can do a better job than you can tell, like where they splice and where they
that's
cut.
right. Yeah.
Yes.
The editor needs to lock it up, dude. I do a better job on this podcast. Put me on podcast. As far as editing and not letting people know exactly where I'm cutting, that thing was just spliced to hell, and I could tell every single time that there was a cut.
I wonder why they were cutting. Maybe they both needed a break or something. Who knows?
Maybe Hulk's like, I shouldn't have said that, brother.
Yeah.
Wording out. Just
Or
for
he,
no
or he
reason.
blew up during the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that could also happen.
Oh, we can't go home, brother? Not yet. Hell. Actually, we have a deleted scene from that podcast.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
Let me pull up the footage.
yeah. Can you
right
pull
here.
it up?
All right, welcome everybody to the Broken Skull Ranch. I'm here with my co-host or my guest today. It's actually going to be Hulk Hogan, the immortal Hulk Hogan. Say something to the people, Hulk.
Well, let me tell you something, Jack. It's good to be on the podcast, dude, especially when there's no hidden cameras here.
Well, Hulk, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't be like Bubba Love Sponge.
Yeah, dude, because when I fucked Bubba Love Sponge's wife, I didn't know that I was going to be taped, dude.
Well, you know, I run a tight ship here at the Broken Skull Ranch, and I'm glad you're not.
Well, let me tell you something, Jack. When I body slammed Andre,
Okay, Hulk, we already heard all those stories.
well, let me tell you a new one, dude. Let me tell you about the time I met 3 black guys in Atlanta.
Whoa, Hulk, we can't be talking about that today.
Well, let me tell you something, Jack. When I found those 3 black guys, dude, I knew.
Whoa, okay, we're gonna stop the podcast right here. We're gonna get the editor. We need emergency White Claws for the Hulkster because I think you're a little too loose, brother.
Well, let me tell you something, Jack. I am a little loose, and I took my steroids today. I'm just hyped up to be on the show, dude.
Well, let me tell you, man, you can't be giving away all your secrets here on the podcast. We got to save it for another day. You know, when I wrestled up down the road here in Texas, I had a lot of people come up to me and want to know a little thing or two about a thing or two.
Well, let me tell you something. When you get on the gimmicks, dude, you got nothing but testosterone and nothing goes in your dick, dude.
Whoa, Hulk. We can't talk about that here on the show, man. It's a family show.
And that's the
That was
How'd
a
you get
heavy.
that footage?
Yeah, dude.
It
That
was
is a rare
I mean,
find. That's a PMOP exclusive.
It's a PMOP exclusive, and it wasn't like really groundbreaking, but it was definitely something like I want to know what he meant with talking about those 3 black guys, dude. It was weird.
I
Yeah.
know what he meant.
That was a man. I could see how it became a rough edit after a while.
Yeah, but definitely give it up to the editor. Could have done a better job, but
At least we didn't have to hear his racist rant. So
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah.
We're good.
I felt like it was Bulgokster and not the Hulkster.
Borderline Bulgogi right there.
Oh God.
I don't know how that happened, but oh man. So in addition to that, one of the things I was take away that some have heard is that during WrestleMania 6, he had wanted to turn heel and he wanted to start the Hollywood Hulk Hogan character back in 1990. That right there, to me, let me ask you guys this: what do you guys think of that? First of all, as far as him wanting to start Hollywood Hogan 6 years before WCW.
I mean, he probably wanted to turn heel. But I don't think he had the idea for Hollywood Hulk Hogan back then.
Hell no, he didn't make enough. He was hella rich at that point. But I'm saying like he didn't totally milk that cash cow of being that super face, you know.
Well, because he was already getting booed back then.
Yeah, he was almost John Cena, Roman Reigns, a Jace back then.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I remember Hogan getting booed as early as say 91 or so, 92.
You know what?
Is it 90? He was still getting cheered pretty heavily. He was still the biggest babyface in the company.
You know
Well, Ultimate Warrior was around, so I
that's
think
true.
that really divided up the crowd.
And it's crazy because like when I was younger, we're those dumbass. I was one of those dumbass kids who never booed John Cena. I was always cheering for Hogan.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I was a Randy Savage guy, so.
so no. I mean, Savage was good and all, but he didn't wear yellow and red like Hogan did.
No, he wore a rainbow of colors, dude.
Yeah, he was the rainbow basically.
But Hogan was like my god back in the day. So like, I totally get how those kids see Cena the way they do now. Just puts it all in perspective.
Yeah, it all comes full circle, and you know, Hulk Hogan and John Cena have a lot more in common than I think we realize, as far as like the way that they were booked, super strong, and Hulk Hogan was like Superman, you know.
I mean, Hogan was like you could say the protocol of how a WWE superstar should be.
Prototype.
What did I say?
Protocol.
Yeah, prototype. Prototype.
Prototype.
Whatever.
Before John Cena was the prototype.
Yeah. Okay. So. Damn it! I lost my train of thought.
Protocol?
He was the protocol of what wrestlers. They modeled, you know, their faces. I mean, Hulk Hogan really blazed a trail as far as that goes.
Yeah, and even during the podcast, he did mention where he got his influences from. I mean, obviously, the most obvious influence was superstar Billy Graham.
Yeah, basically.
But he also did mention Austin Idol as well, which I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar with Austin Idol. And that he came up with the term Idolmania, which Hogan thought it was a genius idea, and it became Hulkamania.
What a thief.
Let me borrow that gimmick, brother.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Austin I obviously got Idolmania from the Beatles.
Yeah, and then according to the WrestleMania documentary, they got WrestleMania from the Beatlemania as well. Fun facts.
There you go.
What else we got, Dick?
He also
Anything
took,
else you guys want to talk about as far as the podcast goes? Like,
when you said he took like a lot of things from Billy Graham, I was like, oh, he definitely took his racist tendencies.
I'm sure he did too.
for
Yeah.
sure.
He took the mustache, the
mustache,
bandana, the racism,
the boa.
yeah, all that stuff, the
All
boa.
All that stuff. Other than that, I just want to see what I'm surprised. Like I was really looking forward to hearing the rest of it to see if he talked about any of the racist controversies in the backlash. But I'm pretty sure that's what they probably cut out. Do you know if they talked? They didn't touch on that, right? On the release.
As far as the racism,
Yeah.
no. I mean, I didn't hear anything about the comments or about the backlash on the podcast. It looks like there might be a part 2 though, so we'll see if maybe they do mention that on part 2. Because as far as what this podcast goes, it was a lot of pretty much up until really his return back to WWE. That's what I got out of it. They did focus a lot on the 90s. And, of course, the Golden Era and then WCW run, and then a little bit when he came back in 2002 and mentioned why they never worked together when Hogan came back during that time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear them talk about.
But they also did mention about the movie as well. I mean, we did mention about the Hulk Hogan biopic a few months ago.
Oh, I can't wait. Who's playing Hogan again? I forget.
Chris Hemsworth.
Oh shit, that's perfect.
So he did talk about the movie, and he said like about 6 or 7 years ago the script was written, and they gave a copy to Hogan and WWE, and it looks like that they were interested in helping produce it, but then ultimately it was turned down, and he believes that Chris Hemsworth would be the perfect Hulk Hogan and that he can win an Academy Award for that role.
Oh, come on, Hulk.
See, yeah. So
Come on
yeah,
now.
I don't know
Let's-
about that right there.
Let's ring it back a little bit. I don't know. If Mickey Rourke didn't win the Oscar, I don't see how Chris Hemsworth could do it.
And I think he did mention speaking of Mickey Rourke, he did mention on the podcast that he was not too big of a fan of the wrestler.
Hater.
He's saying that
Too real?
Too real.
he says that it was exaggerated, that there wasn't a lot of that. He only knows a few wrestlers that are like that. So
because the rest of them are dead. Like,
damn.
but shit, come on, Hogan. Come on.
So So let's play nine truths and nine lies and a true. Which one's he's full of shit and which one is he telling the truth?
I don't think he's really full of shit. I just think a lot of it is like we all tend to remember things differently. Like there's stuff that I glorify when I was in high school, or when I was younger. That now, like, if you actually had proof of what happened, it's probably a little more skewed than what you think it was.
A little embellished.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like the time I fucked up 7 guys at one time. But it was really just a dream. But
or when Sean got fucked up by 9 Marine men, but it was only really like 1 or 2 probably.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Oh, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
The Shawn Michael.
Shout out to Pat Patterson.
That's my Pat Patterson impression. Speaking of movies with wrestlers, Netflix and WWE announced there's going to be the Big Show coming to Netflix soon.
The Big Show, huh?
What's the format? Do you know?
I feel like it's going to be like a sitcom style.
Oh, I'm in.
It's going to be 10 episodes that will feature the Big Show as he hopes on being a retired wrestler who is married with 3 daughters.
I'm watching every bit of that show.
I had a feeling it had something to do with him and like his post wrestling life. Maybe like I was thinking maybe like a sitcom like with him and a roommate. And like they're trying to struggle in L.A. and they're trying to find a job, something like that, something corny. But it sounds like it's like a reality show.
Maybe no, it's not a reality show.
Is it?
No, it's going to be a live action family comedy.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the vein of like
10 Simple Rules or Home Improvement.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Family Matters.
Ooh, I almost like Family Matters.
That would be dope, dude. Imagine Big Show as like a black cop in Chicago.
Dude, I'd buy it. Minus the blackface.
No, it's got to be blackface.
A 7-foot tall cop.
Giant Winslow. But that sucks.
Big Slow.
Big Slow. Oh, it's a Big Slow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all the news we got. A lot going on as far as outside. AEW is ramping up, and the ratings aren't looking great for SmackDown. SmackDown dropped under 2 million viewers, and that part of that has to do with the Democratic national
I was about
debate.
to say, it was a pretty big deal.
So we'll see what happens if they can recover next week. They got a big bump from the Raw reunion, and I think did Raw ratings go back down?
Actually, no. They were actually in the lowest in the Paul Heyman era.
What was that, like 3
weeks? Which first of all, like when
did the Paul Heyman era
exactly.
start?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, it seems like that it seems like it started, stop, but it seems like it's been like the bottom line is it's been the lowest rated in about a couple weeks. That's basically it. It was about it actually was very low in the beginning, but then it progressed up to about 2.4 million eventually by the 3rd hour. I mean, Raw was a good show for those 3 hours.
I actually really enjoyed Raw. Raw was a lot of fun this week. Do we need to talk about the G1 at all before we get into Raw?
I have no idea what's going on in the last couple.
Oh man, you need to watch the G1, dude.
I know. I saw the first couple weeks, but let me see how the brackets are looking right now.
Well, this is as of today. So
damn, Mox is leading Block B.
Yeah, yesterday
he's undefeated still.
Yeah, earlier today we there was a series of Block A matches. Okada versus I'm trying to remember his name. Lance Archer. That was actually a good match. Tanahashi versus Evil was pretty good. Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre was a great technical match. Unfortunately, Will Ospreay did lose, and therefore he is mathematically eliminated from the G1.
So Lance Archer, Will Ospreay, Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., and Bad Luck Fale are all mathematically out.
Correct.
Of their block.
So Block A looks like this. Okada has 12 points. In fact, he's undefeated. He has not lost at all.
He beat Kenta, right?
He beat Kenta.
His first loss in New Japan.
Yeah. And Kenta has 8. Ibushi has 8. Tanahashi has 8. Evil has 6. Archer, Ospreay, Sonata, Sabre with 4, and Bad Luck Fale with only 2. Block B matches are going to be tomorrow morning, and as of this recording, Moxley has 10, Ishii has 6, Robinson 6, and then we have pretty much a 7-way tie at 4 points between Takagi, Yano, Taichi, Naito, Cobb, Goto, and White. So it seems like Block B. I mean, it could really be anyone's for the taking.
It's a little more competitive.
It's a little bit more competitive.
Naito
yeah.
only has 4 points too. Wow.
Yeah. So
going from the champ to bottom of the block.
I wonder how that's gonna turn out. I think I have an idea, but we'll save that for the.
No, go ahead and say it, dude. Because
who do you think's winning?
I said a few weeks ago that I thought Ospreay was gonna win, but he's eliminated. Yeah.
Bum, bum,
But
bum.
you know what though? He's been impressive in this tournament. So
Yeah.
he's shown that he can compete with the heavyweights. Ibushi's still in it. That's my backup right there. So I think he could still do it. But Okada is he's on a roll.
I know. I think Ibushi is gonna win.
Moxley and Okada, I think, would be a great
That'd be a good
final.
Yeah, but I think it's too obvious if they're both the leaders.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's gonna be
And,
Ibushi.
and how strong do they want to book Moxley if he's not going to be a full timer there?
Right. Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
He's
That-
probably gonna use it as a stepping stone.
But you never know. You never know what they're gonna do.
I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Good stuff coming out of the G1. We can get into Raw now. I mean, Raw. I thought Raw was actually a pretty good show. Raw and SmackDown both were pretty good. Not really too much to complain about. I like that Raw opened up with the match right away for the 24/7 title. It was a mixed tag match between R-Truth and Carmella versus Renee Michelle and Drake Maverick. Rules were off. Somehow, R-Truth retained, got pinned by a pileup. Mike Kanellis walks out with the title. And then Maria Kanellis, I thought Stephanie McMahon was great at emasculating men. Maria Kanellis is like the new Stephanie McMahon as far as that goes.
Yeah, I love it.
She has that heat where it's just you hate her like with a passion.
Well, because, yeah, she treats her husband like shit. But she is the new 24/7 champion, and she's parading around like, who's going to pin her for that? You know? How do they get out of this?
She's using the pregnant card.
Because she walked right up to Titus O'Neil. She's like, yeah, you wouldn't pin a pregnant woman, would you?
Smart.
And, yeah, she just walks around holding that title up. So
She did it to Braun later on in the show.
yeah, she did it to Braun. I fast forward through all that. So, I mean,
Good work with the 24/7 title. Though.
yeah, but where do they go from here? Who can take that from her? Another woman?
Michael
Can Mike Kanellis win it
I
back?
think so.
Pin her-
Michael Kanellis, yeah.
I mean, as
Maybe-
long as the ref is present, you know, he can just get on top of her for the pin.
And maybe he can pin her while like she's taking a nap or something.
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Something dumb.
Pin her during prego sex. I mean,
Whoa,
yeah.
pregnant porn, huh?
Sex mix.
sex max.
Rey Mysterio versus Cesaro. That was the beginning of a gauntlet match that featured Sami Zayn, Andrade, and Ricochet. I thought this was awesome.
That was a really good block of matches there.
And the best part about it is that the no wrestling during commercial break has been lifted.
Pretty much.
Wait, what does that mean? Lifted that it's now allowed?
Well, for a while,
the last 2 months.
the last 2 months, Vince had a
You've
rule.
been away for a little bit.
So Vince had a rule for both Raw and SmackDown that during commercial breaks there'd be no wrestling whatsoever.
Oh,
so
that's right.
during the matches, they would come up with a bunch of ways to not have the wrestling during the commercials, i.e., there'd been a lot of 2 out of 3 fall matches or elimination matches,
Yeah.
and you could only do so much of that after a while.
Yeah.
Like after the first week, and that's it.
It killed the momentum of the show. It
It
killed the
does.
momentum of the match.
Imagine being there live.
And not only did it kill the momentum of it, but it killed the gimmick of the 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh, yeah.
and the elimination matches as well, because they abused the hell out of it.
Yeah, or they would stop a match and then,
There was a lot of restarts during the match.
yeah, when like the club came out to help out AJ, he's like, "Wait, we're not going to start this match till you guys leave. We'll be right back, folks." And then they go to
Exactly.
commercials,
Oh.
stupid shit like that. Apparently, Vince got the idea because he said during like sporting events like baseball and basketball, football, there's no commercials during the action. So that's why he didn't want any commercials during their action either.
Well, Vince, it's scripted, so you go around.
It's sports entertainment. You know that, right?
It is. Like, the difference between wrestling and boxing and MMA is that you can do commercials in between rounds because they're timed rounds. In a professional wrestling environment, you really there's no rounds, there's no breaks. It's just one fall
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time. Like say 20 minutes, a 20-minute match, you're going to keep going all the way through. And if you stop it and then restart it again, it kills the momentum for the wrestlers because, I mean, I'm sure as an athlete, you just can't stop on a whim and then pick back up again. It's very difficult to do that.
I mean, yeah, when there's like rain delays or stuff like that, like in baseball, like the pitcher like it fucks up. They have to like take the pitcher out because he's already warm,
Yep.
and then he's like back to being cold again. So they're like, we got to change the pitcher because this guy's
It's fucked.
he's fucked.
And I'm sure the wrestlers themselves they weren't big fans of it either.
Oh, no way. I mean, if you want to start borrowing things from sports, maybe an off season
Yeah.
or a workers union.
Or a record.
I mean, if you want to start going that way, well, you can,
Yeah.
but you choose not to.
You fucks.
You fucks. But I thought this gauntlet match was awesome. Andrade and Ricochet are like incapable of having a bad match with anybody, let alone each other. It was a great way to finish it. Ricochet gets his rematch after all that gauntlet, which is, I mean, I was intrigued. Andrade now it looks like he's gonna have a thing with Mysterio because after the match he ripped his mask off pretty much all the way.
Which I love.
Maybe a hair versus mask match, perhaps at SummerSlam.
Hair versus mask?
No, we can't take off.
No, Andrade.
Come on now.
No way. He's still.
Kill you.
I could see if he was losing it up top,
Yeah,
but he is no Baron
yeah.
Corbin, my
Yeah,
friend.
He's delicious.
I'm just saying. Maybe they're going down that road. I don't want to see it happening, but perhaps maybe they're building up to that.
Maybe not hair. Maybe a mask versus Zelina Vega or something.
Ooh. Or she has to take off her top.
Yeah. A mask versus
Tits.
blouse.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen either, bro.
Yeah,
We're in the Attitude Era 2.0 apparently to
I know
people.
it's getting there.
But they can only do so much.
One thing that I don't like are the Street Profits. They're the NXT Tag Team Champions. They called them up, and they're just doing narration, like to get the audience at home kind of caught up with what's happened during the show. Why would you call up your Tag Team Champions to just have them do backstage segments and not really do anything?
You know they haven't wrestled at all since being on the main roster.
It sucks. Like that's awful. That's awful for NXT and for them.
They're gonna be in the Raw brand, right?
It doesn't even
Doesn't
matter
matter.
anymore,
Yeah.
dude.
You know,
Wild card.
I haven't seen them on SmackDown, so I'm assuming they're going to be on Raw if they even go to the main roster, or they're just part of the wild card from NXT. It doesn't really matter at this point, anyways. But yeah, you're not seeing. There's no ring action. You're taking it away from
NXT.
not Dawkins, but man, I forgot his name right now. I'm drawing a blank.
All I can think of is Angelo right now,
Yeah, Angelo
and
Booker T.
it's the Booker T of the group.
Yeah. Dawkins, not Dawkins.
Damn, I can't think of his.
What the fuck is his name?
D'Angelo Dawkins is the only one I can remember right now.
I know that's
Yeah.
the one with the cool
Montez
name.
Ford. I'm sorry.
Montez
Yeah,
Ford.
Montez Ford.
Workaholic.
Workaholics, yes.
You're taking.
Tez.
You're taking his.
Tez.
You're taking his in-ring ability away, and it's not being showcased at all. And I think that's a real shame because that's a perfect opportunity to show what he can really do on the main roster and to a wider audience.
I see them having a long career though. They'll be like.
I see Montez Ford having a long career.
Yeah, I see him.
Actually,
both.
I think
Yeah.
now that I'm seeing them more talk, I guess maybe it's doing what they want it to do because I think Angelo Dawkins is pretty fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
he's not bad.
He also dropped a hard R. He called Dolph Ziggler Dolph Zigger.
Oh.
And I'm surprised they didn't bleep that.
That's good. That's good writing there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning because, you know, these guys are great talents and they're not being showcased on their brand and they're not being showcased on the Raw brand. Kind of pointless to have them up there. But like I said, maybe it's doing something because now I'm into Angelo Dawkins. We have new Raw Tag Team Champions, guys.
I'm a fan of this move.
I'm a fan of this match, actually.
A great
Yeah,
match,
yeah.
triple threat match with the Usos, who I guess aren't in the doghouse, although Jimmy did eat the pin
Take that.
against the OC, who is Gallows and Anderson,
Dumbass.
Not the show.
not Rachel Bilson
Well,
and
Misha Barton.
Misha Barton,
Yeah.
and the Revival. So I'm glad to see the OC having all the titles, the Emmys, you know, the tag team titles, the US title.
Just throw all the belts on them.
Yeah, I mean, might as well at this point. So great match, and definitely I would say that's another thing to go watch back on Raw if you didn't this week. Let's just talk about the Seth Rollins thing. Him and Dolph Ziggler were having a match. Dolph Ziggler. I feel really weird saying that.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe I
It's
should.
Z.
It's a Z. It's a Z.
Zigga?
Hey, if Angelo Dawkins can say it, I can say it too.
Why not?
Dolph Ziggler, he trolls the crowd. He's coming out with HBK cosplay, which was awesome because I thought Shawn Michaels was actually coming out. And it's actually getting me excited for a Shawn Michaels Dolph Ziggler match.
For a match that we may not see at all.
I mean,
It may happen.
bald Shawn Michaels versus fully beautiful blonde haired,
long, luscious haired Ziggler.
Fully
Ziggler.
blonde comedian, Dolph Ziggler.
Perfectly straightened hair.
And have you noticed Ziggler's been kind of going after these wrestlers that are retired? I mean, he's been going after Goldberg for the past couple weeks.
Legend killer gimmick, maybe?
I'm hearing the rumor is Goldberg wants a match with Ziggler.
No, Ziggler.
I mean, if you think about it, if you've been watching SmackDown the past couple weeks, that's what it's been alluded to, because he's been really criticizing Goldberg, like specifically, and calling him out for his bad match against the Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. It makes you think that, are they going to have a match
in Saudi Arabia?
And then now he's calling out Shawn Michaels. So it seems like, I don't know what's going on with it. Is it going to lead to that, or is it just all a swerve to get Ziggler against someone else, maybe like the Miz, perhaps?
I mean, all they're doing right now is getting me excited for this match, and not because they are going with Miz and Ziggler, but all this is doing is getting me excited for that.
Right.
Those tights that Ziggler had were sick.
The blue ones?
Yeah.
Those are dope. Because on Raw he had all black, and then
he did,
or was it SmackDown? I forget. But the all blue ones were dope. He comes out, trolls the crowd. They have him and Seth are actually having a good match, and then we hear the Beast music start up, and Lesnar comes down to the ring, and just beats the shit out of Seth Rollins. F5s him on the open chair 3 times. Seth Rollins pops a blood capsule. I kind of could tell it was a blood capsule because the blood was too
watery,
too thick.
That medicine-y thingy.
Yeah,
it's like NyQuil. But
I used to love doing those when I was like Dracula for Halloween. I would buy those.
Like
when I was a backyarder, I would always pop those. I'd buy extra from the store just so I can have blood in my matches.
Oh, that's perfect. In case you guys are wondering, backyarder means backyard wrestlers.
Yes.
Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary. Yes, check it out. And then the end of so Rollins gets stretchered out. Lesnar stops the ambulance, comes out, and F5s him onto a stretcher right on the metal legs. It looked like it sucked.
He got F5'd a lot.
Do you guys feel this feud? I know I'm definitely not the only one who's a little tired of the Rollins Brock. It kind of needs a reboot, but like
I am over it as well. I think that's what they were going for with this, to kind of get some heat back on it. Yeah. But I feel like it's kind of just overdone at this point.
Yeah, at least open the show with it.
That promo last week with Seth on Brock, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Oh, when he was like, he's big little head.
Yeah,
that's so stupid.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That killed it for
Cringe.
me. That killed it for me right there. That just made Seth look so much like a geek when he said those words.
Yeah, even on Raw, he's not doing himself any favors the way he's been acting. And then the end of Raw was kind of weird. I don't know why I thought it was going to go off the air with that stretcher job, which would have been a great place.
Yeah. But
then we had a match, Reigns and Joe, right?
The Samoan Summit. Yes.
Why was that a thing? And then
that was weird as far as like the placement for that for those two was.
We gotta get Roman in the main event. Well, was that Hogan or Vince?
That was a combination of both.
Hints.
I don't even know anymore at this point.
Roman in the ring, main eventer.
So yeah, he not only did he main event Raw, but he also did main event SmackDown, which we'll get into in a bit as well. But the Samoan Summit, it wasn't very long, and it ended up being a brawl between those two, which Roman did come out on top from what it looked like.
Well, McIntyre came out for some reason.
And he did come out. You're right. Yeah.
Cedric comes out for some reason. A bunch of other people come out for some reason, and Cedric jumped off the Tron, which was crazy to see after, we've seen a lot already for the night.
In fact, it segued from when they were in the back when Seth was getting carried off. Remember when Seth was getting carried off?
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, and then Roman got jumped because Roman was watching Seth leave, and then he got jumped by Joe in the club, right?
I guess.
That's what right.
I guess that's why this all ties together.
It all tied in together.
They didn't do a good job at explaining that at all.
It didn't, yeah.
Because the whole time I was like, wait, why?
That's funny.
Why are they fighting? So that was Raw, pretty much. I thought it was a good show, especially the matches. that we talked about right here. I feel like that's all we got to do from now on. Just talk about the matches that we care about.
That's cracking me up right now because
the pros and the cons, pros instead of the cons, rather.
Side note, that thing that's really making me laugh is like Peter Rosenberg talked about Samoa Joe's trunks as being as like the kind of shorts you wear when you go to a strip club if you're a really pervy guy. Because they're just so thin. That shit's cracking me up.
Yeah, those are super thin. or you wear like some sweats.
Yeah, or basketball shorts.
Yeah.
Basketball shorts, dude.
Ideal comfort. Anyway.
No, now I'm thinking about it. Like, would you have the balls to go into a strip club
Literally.
with shorts on?
I don't know. It depends on you might have to know the bouncer or something.
Because they probably don't allow that,
There
right?
is a certain level of dress code when you go to a strip club.
Well,
right?
the Vegas ones for sure. The Vegas ones won't let you have to be semi-dressed.
What about like guys in like slacks, like those thin ass?
Well, that's a
slacks.
smart move because you're dressy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're dressed formal. And
Got the loophole.
There you go.
There you go. So
They
pro
probably
tip,
prefer that. As
wear dress slacks to a strip club if you want that nice rub.
We got to the bottom of it.
There you go.
Slacks at strip clubs.
Literally.
As far as SmackDown goes, I thought it was a good show. There was a lot of wrestling. There wasn't really much promos, which was nice. And it's official: Trish Stratus versus Charlotte in Toronto, Canada. Who do you think this guy's going to win this match? Should we run down the card or just wait till next week?
We'll wait till next
We'll
week.
wait till next
But
week
Okay.
because we don't know because we don't know like all the matches yet so far. And even when we do run it next week, I'm sure that's not going to be all of them either.
Yeah. So Charlotte and Trish Stratus is official.
That's a big time match, actually.
I think it's huge.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine for having Charlotte in that match against Trish. I have
Perfect
no
use
problem
for
with that
both of them.
whatsoever. I mean, because I don't think she should be in the title picture right now.
She's only 25-time women's champion.
Yeah, only.
She shouldn't even be anywhere near it. Dude.
Exactly. But I think her and Trish would be a good match. I mean, when we saw Trish would look pretty good. She didn't embarrass herself. Charlotte's very great in the ring. So I think they'll have a great match.
Yeah. Speaking of good matches, McIntyre and Owens had a really good match to kick off SmackDown. And then what else happened? There was
Owens got a clean win too, right?
yeah, with the stunner.
With the
Yep.
stunner.
The demon or the fiend is still going after Finn Balor. So Dolph Ziggler was in 2 matches in 1 week that both got broken up. Ziggler hits sweet chin music is what they called
Not
it.
super kick.
Not a super kick. He's using sweet chin music now.
Nice troll
And
move.
he beats the dumb baby face that was distracted by a screen.
Dumbass.
Nakamura and Ali was another great match. Ali beats Nakamura, so he's gonna get a match at SummerSlam, right?
Of course.
Well, Nakamura has to go over there. They're doing some good work with Nakamura right now.
Yeah, Nakamura is looking really strong,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively in the ring. He's being able to show off, I think, strong style a little bit more. That reverse exploder suplex is fucking nasty looking, dude.
Especially on Ali.
Especially on Ali.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked dope. And then plans changed a lot for this show as well. At first they were promoting the New Day versus the OC, and then a lot of people online were excited about that match. And right before the show started, they scrapped that, and we just had Kofi versus AJ, which is an okay match. Kofi Kingston gets the win.
Kofi's on a roll, bro.
He can't be stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy
and I think
for
it's
him.
the right call right there, having Kofi win.
He doesn't have a match at SummerSlam yet, huh?
Yeah, he does.
Against
with Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Ooh, that's a great
Yeah,
match.
and actually before that was the promo they were building up the promo for those two, because last week Kofi did issue the challenge out to Orton for SummerSlam. Orton accepted, and they're just building up little by little, and they did have a very good promo package.
Oh yeah.
And Orton did play into the fact of what happened 10 years ago at the Garden, where he called Kofi stupid and he kept him down.
Well, because he botched a move, right?
Right.
Yeah, so he called him stupid, and they're really playing that up. No one does promos better than WWE as far as like, they used to be a little bit better in the 90s and 2000s, I felt like, but video packages are WWE's like bread and butter.
Yeah, there's nobody. Who
Yeah, that
does
was
it
a good
better.
promo
And they're
package.
so fast too. The turnaround on that shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, literally, like by the end of WrestleMania, there's already a badass video package happening.
I'm like happy crying already.
But yeah, that was pretty much Raw and SmackDown.
That is until the ending though. At the end of SmackDown, Kayla Braxton was interviewing Roman Reigns,
This is some
and
horseshit
as
right
Roman
here.
was going up to be interviewed by Kayla, we see that it looks like part of the stage was falling onto him, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's basically all I could say about that because it just made no sense at all. Where it looked like he was going to be crushed.
He was walking down the hall. I mean, the way that they cut this up too was so ridiculous. There was a camera set up inside the rafters that were falling on. It was so
It was staged.
like way overproduced. Like, just make it look like an accident. You don't have to set up stupid cameras that literally got a shot for 2 seconds. Why go through all that trouble? Just make it look like it's like there's a cameraman behind him.
Yeah.
Billion-dollar company.
And I don't like the fact that Roman got up unharmed. Like, I thought he was going to fight the EMTs because the EMT's like, whoa, hold on. He's like, no, I'm fine. And he just walks
so
away.
Stupid.
I didn't like this at all.
It was such an awkward ending to SmackDown that, I mean, they could have just, and if they had it ended it where Roman was getting stretchered off or where he was on the floor and it didn't
haven't been
recover,
helped. Yeah.
Yeah, then I think that would have been fine. But the fact that he walked away unscathed and it was just created so much confusion amongst not only the audience but also amongst Roman himself too, that he didn't really believe it either. It seemed like he didn't really like he didn't sell like the whole experience, and I for sure as hell didn't buy it either.
I don't think I've ever seen someone like get up from something like that and just walk away like nothing.
That man just had cancer. It's crazy.
Maybe it was leukemia that came back.
Maybe it
He's
was.
going for his revenge, but finish him off.
Maybe it was, for all we know.
Who do you think it was?
It's gotta be Joe, right? Unless it's someone else that we're not thinking of.
They said it's the rumor on the internet, and they said that you could see him as what's his name?
Bob Harley,
No, the other dude who has a name like Bob Holly.
EC3.
Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, well, that would be
That's
interesting.
there've been rumors with Buddy Murphy.
I think it's Buddy Murphy.
Daniel Bryan. I mean, it's been thrown around
Sure,
everywhere
it's
as far
deep
as
fry.
like.
He-
Speaking of which,
Oh, yeah, that's another thing.
he was supposed to be make us a huge announcement
For 2 weeks in a row now.
for 2 weeks in a row, being teased. But of course, he as soon as he was given the mic and allowed the time to go up there, he walks away. So we're being teased as far as what the announcement is. And I honestly, I don't think it's anything. I think it's just he's just trolling the audience
It's
right now at this
kayfabe,
point.
right? It's not like he's retiring.
No,
No,
I mean,
I don't
hope
think so.
not.
No.
He's on his game. It could be D-Bry, but I think it'd be awesome if it was Buddy Murphy. That would put him over crazy. Like,
Would it? Or would it just be another person for Roman to run
Smack.
through?
I mean, for
Sure.
SummerSlam, it needs to be a high profile.
yeah, because Roman's not quite gatekeeper status yet.
No way. He's
Super
still
Roman.
super
Yeah.
Roman.
Yeah.
It's going to be Joe, and he's going to get squashed like he tried to do against Roman at
That's
at
true.
SmackDown.
It could either be Joe or Drew McIntyre as well, because as of this recording, Drew McIntyre doesn't have a match official. He doesn't have an official match at SummerSlam.
The Rock actually came out and like gave Drew McIntyre a lot of praise recently. I got to read the article, but that was a headline that I didn't read, but I saw. It could be anyone. It's a regular whodunit. It just would have been a lot more impactful if Roman was
Albeit
actually
a
affected.
shitty.
I hope it's
whodunit.
Buddy Murphy. That'd be sick.
It's like a Who Killed Mr. Burns, dude.
Yeah, that was awesome. By the way,
That was super awesome when
that
they
was
did
a
that.
good era of Simpsons.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we got for this week, guys.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Next week is going to be crazy. It's
Yeah,
going to be
it's a-
episode 69, and it's also going to be our SummerSlam preview, right?
Summer of '69.
Wait, August 11th? Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next Sunday, make sure you guys tune in. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your friends' neighbors. Thank you guys so much for listening, downloading, subscribing, and, finding us wherever you can. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Google Podcasts. Wherever you can find your podcasts, you can find us. Also, we're recording this one via video, so it's going to be on YouTube soon.
You can see
Unedited.
all of our beautiful faces.
Yes. I've been wanting to see your faces, guys. And I'm so excited to be back. So excited to have a full crew again. We're back, baby. We are the new World Order Professional Podcasting, and we will see you next time.
Oh, that reminds